James Thomas Morning Blend. I got a chance to talk with Todd Douglas, the director for Apollo 11. Todd, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. You kind of make me feel a little bit old here.
You and me
I
both.
remember coming in the.
I mean, I walked through my dad's door at the house, and I was 16 years old, and I'm actually watching the lunar landing. That's how old I am.
Wow. Well, I'm jealous because I was -7 when it happened. So I remember the shuttle, but unfortunately I wasn't around for the lunar landing.
You know, Todd, I mean, fortunately, I'm reading this, and based on what I'm reading here, you took a long time before they discovered all this new footage, actually completing the film. How many years was that?
It was only 3 years, so it wasn't too bad. It was a great, the project itself is a great testament of the team we put together, from the audio guys to the film restoration team to even my music composer. Everybody worked around the clock, not unlike sending a man to the moon to try to get this done in time for the 50th anniversary.
Yes, it was. So it was a labor of love, wasn't it? Putting this together.
It was the great joy of my life, to be able to not only work with, the group of people, the filmmaking team that I've had the pleasure of working with for quite a while with, to tackle this film, which obviously was very challenging, but also to work with NASA and the National Archives and Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins and the families, and certainly the family of Neil, his sons Rick and Mark. It was just the highlight of my career to be able to work with them to really showcase the accuracy in a way in which I don't think has been depicted before.
You know, it was a labor of love. Now, let's think about today and the moon today. What do you think about our space program today? Because there's no real talk about moon anymore. We got the rover on Mars. So what's happening? What do you think's going on?
Well, I think there has to be a political will to do it. The public needs to support it. You think back to that time in the '60s. There was great political strife worldwide. John F. Kennedy said in 1962 that he wanted to put a man on the moon and tried to sell the public on that idea. Obviously, he was assassinated a year later. His brother was assassinated in '68. Of course, the great Martin Luther King was assassinated. But in the backdrop of all of that, you still had hundreds of thousands of people coming together, spread across these tens of thousands of companies that all came together to accomplish the singular goal of putting a human being on setting foot on another world for the first time. And I think it's a great lesson that we can all take throughout the generations, that when we all come together, we can accomplish great things.
You got to be careful there, Todd. You said political, and you were talking about that last one because what you wrote in that last line, because of that last line, I think you should run for politics. Can you remind us of great things? You remind us that great things can be accomplished from people, when you when you have a common goal. And I was going to tease you to say, Todd, you should be running for president with lines like that.
No.
That is a great line, though. That is, I like the atmosphere and the thoughts that you had, and thinking about all those people and thinking about everything that happened to make this happen.
Well, I mean, when you rifle through, and it's just not me, it was never lost on the team that working with these materials. When you rifle through 11,000 hours of audio and you see, millions of people witness this event over the years, and you see the hundreds of thousands of people build, just not the spacecraft, but just the things to support the spacecraft. I mean, they had to transport, these spaceships. They were built in other parts of the country, so they had to build airplanes, boats, even a winch, inside of a hangar to be able to lift it. So it's all the work of these, phenomenally skilled individuals, and it just goes to show you, it's just a testament of the great common goal that was shared by so many to do this great undertaking.
What do you want viewers to see in this film, and what do you want them to take away from this film when they see it?
Well, above all else, I want them to have fun. It's very rare. I'm a lover of cinema, and it's very rare to go into a theater and have a shared experience. I can think of a handful of films in my childhood where that did that, and that's what we tried to create. All of us that worked on this project feel the same way, and it's just such a joy to go to a cinema and experience something like this. But it also holds a mirror up to show us all just what I just said, that we can accomplish something great if we all work together, and we're witness to this up on the screen when you see it. It's just, and I'm not saying this because we made the film, but I attend as many screenings as I possibly can. I get something new out of it all the time, and it demands repeat viewing. But I hope that people appreciate that and see it as, this is us, this is who we are, this is what we did, and we can certainly do it again if we all work together.
I agree with you, Todd. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. It works. I think it's going to run for a long time.
Thanks, James.